Hello, and welcome to The Potential State. My name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and today I want to talk about how to stop holding on to things and people and connect to life. We all want to live forever. We're all afraid of dying in the future, and that's why we hold on to things. We cling. What's the definition of hoarding? It's to accumulate in order to preserve. Preserve, stay alive, stay relevant, stay real. So we're afraid of doing that, and then we keep things. We hold on to things and people thinking that that's what's going to make us live eternally. Make sure that we're never forgotten, we never forget anything. We'll be able to stop time and hold on to all the past and always be relevant. The price we pay for that is it becomes a burden. It takes energy and effort and mind space to hold on to all these things, to all these relationships, to all these people, to all these traditions. And I'm thinking about this topic now because we're considering moving apartments. I grew up in the same house all my life in Israel, but when we were living in the States, we moved. But I come from a hoarding mentality. We stay in one place. We keep everything. Don't throw anything away. You never know when you're going to need it. But if you think about it, life and nature is all about change, right? 4 seasons of the year, everything dies and grows. You know, the cycle, the circle, the Buddhist idea. And I was really struck when I was thinking about this topic about George Harrison and his song, All Things Must Pass. I'm going to come back to that at the end. So I was watching Marie Kondo as a hoarder, so I hoard clothes, I hoard notes, I hoard books. As you can see, I can't let go. I want all of them. I want them all relevant. And I was watching this episode of Marie Kondo about tidying up your house, and she had this line about, does this piece of clothing give you joy? And I was thinking, that's a really interesting question, because my whole life I had tons of clothes, but I didn't always like all of them. And it comes a time in the rotation of clothes where it's time to mix it up the shirt, and you're going for that shirt. You know you don't love it, but it's good to put in the rotation because then it spaces out your favorite shirt. So basically, my whole life, I've always had like between 30 and 50% of my clothes that did not give me joy, but I held on to them. And I'm thinking about, recently, I've discovered that I'm a different size. I'm actually a medium and not a large. And that kind of made me want to, suddenly I discovered that I just want to let go of all the large and go back to my size, to medium. This shirt, for instance, is a classic example. This is a large. I should give it away, but it's hard for me. Maybe after this talk, I will realize that it's time to let this shirt go. So Marie Kondo says it will give you joy. And I was thinking about, imagine a life where you slowly let go of things. We're going to start talking about things and then we'll move on to people. That just give you joy. Your favorite CDs, your favorite books, your favorite clothes. And then all day, what you're surrounded is with the things you really, really love. Your favorite mug, your favorite plate. Can you imagine a life like that? And if we take it one step further, when I do donate, when I do recycle, donate, give it away, what I'm actually doing is I'm connecting to the rhythm of life. I'm connecting to my body, right? Every 7 years, every single cell of my body is new. My body's in a constant state of death and renewal, death and birth. And we're all slowly dying, right? So when I'm giving away things, when I'm donating, when I'm recycling, what I'm actually doing is connecting to the rhythm of life, to the rhythm of nature, to the way we're supposed to be, because we're humans, we're Homo sapiens. We're not gods and we're not stones. And even stones will die, will slowly crumble and become sand. Nothing is permanent. As much as humans, we like to make sure everything is permanent, so we build ourselves graves from concrete and stone, and we hope that we'll live forever. But that is our fear of death and the future. And I was thinking about Estelle Perel, the couple therapist who talks about, we're moving on to people now. Estelle Perel talks about, she has a saying, we will all marry more than once. The question is, will it be with the same person? And the way I always took it is we always change. It's inevitable. Our relationships have to change. It's impossible not to change. And in systematic therapy, we talk about you cannot not change. You have to change. That's the essence of life. And a lot of times people come to therapy wanting the other person to change, but they don't want to change. So also with people in relationships, every single relationship you have, including your brothers, sisters, parents, child, they need to change. And if it doesn't change, you're resisting life, you're resisting nature. You're trying to do something that's not natural, and that's not going to work. Because at the end of the day, we are sitting in a temporary container that will also die and is also in a constant state of death and birth, death and birth. I want to give a few examples that really kind of give me courage or give me energy to let go of things. My wife's grandfather, when he passed away and they cleaned out his closet, they found a brand new sweater, still with the tags. And I really thought about that because for many years I kept my favorite shirts. I didn't use them only for special occasions. And then what a poignant example of that's it. He was gone and he never wore that shirt. He never got that joy. How many clothes in your closet are you saving for a special event? Are you specing for a special day? How many pictures, furniture, bowls, cups, how many of those are you keeping? Use them now. Life's short. What if you die tomorrow? Wouldn't you want to use it? Another example is when I go visit my mom in her house, she keeps everything, letters from high school and books and broken toys. And I said to her, wouldn't you rather give this away in your lifetime than wait till after you die and then we will give everything away? And she said no. And I was thinking it is easier for other people to give away my stuff. I remember packing when I left London. I packed my apartment to move back to Israel. It took me weeks to do 5-6 boxes. The day the movers came, they did everything in 2 hours. They had no problems putting things in boxes, shipping them away. It's this emotional attachment is I want to stay in the same place forever. That's not natural. I want to give another example so my wife keeps encouraging me to let go, to give, and I was going over my notes from my master's degree. That was 10 years ago. And every single note I was feeling attached, and I was like, well, maybe I will use one day Intro to Social Work or the history of social work in Israel, which is clear to me that I never will, but there was a part of me that couldn't let go. That I wanted to hold that memory, hold that thought, remember the journey. And I'm reminded again of Mary Kondo's when she says, before you give the shirt away, you thank it. Thank it for how it served you. So there are a few of these courses that I took that I just held. I said, thank you for giving me this knowledge, and now I'm letting it go. And I'm thinking about Carl Whitaker, the family therapist, who in his tips for therapists, at the end of one of his books, he talks about practice dying. And I've mentioned this in the past, and he always left it a bit, open. What does that mean? I think in this case, it's practice letting go, So you can open up to a new future, so you can, liberate some energy, some locked up energy, so you can go into excitement. And if I'm thinking about patterns in your relationships, so we all have our regular seats. This is the way we do it. This is the way we fight. This is the way we book a vacation. But when we open it up, when we let go of that, of those rhythms, of those patterns, of those dances, as we call them, we're actually opening it up to improvise scripts, to new, exciting, vital interactions that will actually give us not only joy, but it will also connect us to the nature of the Homo sapien. The Homo sapien, the nature of life, which is movement, which is change, which is letting go, right? So with every pattern, with every relationship, with every shirt that we give away, we are connecting once again to Pachamama, to Earth, to the cycle. And I want to give a few practical tips on how to do it. Some of these I've done, and some of these I'm going to do. What are you holding on to that doesn't give you joy anymore? Whether it's a friendship, or a certain piece of clothing, or the old shot glasses from college that you just have to keep even though you haven't used them, but you think one day you'll use them. The frozen limoncello in your freezer that's been there for 4 months. It's 4 months, for 5 years. Waiting for the guests that will want frozen limoncello. The CDs, Pearl Jam 10, the first copy that you had, keep that. Does that give you joy? I'm thinking about my parents brought over some childhood pictures when I was 1 year old. And looking at them, and it was clear to me that I was about to throw them away. I was like, wait, that's my history. That actually does give me joy. I would like my kids to see me as a child. And I'm going to put them in the photo album. I'm going to keep the photo albums. Do I need to keep the harmonium that I bought when I was living in London? Haven't played in 10 years? Maybe. Does it give me joy? Does it give me security to know that it's there even though I will never use it? And that big lie, we're keeping it for our kids, right? So we're basically dumping on them our projections, our fantasies, so they one day might play the harmonium that I bought in a shop in London because I thought it was cool at the time. Maybe the biggest gift we can give our kids is actually letting go, opening up, giving them space to bring in what they want into their life. And when you find these things that you want to give away, thank them and donate them, pay it forward. Maybe some people are looking exactly for that. I remember we joined the group WhatsApp for donations of clothes and baby clothes. And we gave away this crib, and this woman, the single mom, came. She said, that's exactly what I was waiting for, what I was looking for. And at that moment I realized, yes, I need to let this go because she needs it more than me. So it's not that I was altruistic or benevolent, but I was actually connecting not only to nature but to community. And in relationships, where are you stuck? Where are you not letting go of certain patterns? What relationships in your life? It's time to let it go, to free up that energy. I said before in one of the previous episodes about saying goodbye to a friend after many, many years and liberating myself from that energy, feeling that closure. So when I bring all this together, I'm going to go back to George Harrison and his legendary album, All Things Must Pass, in 1970s. The Beatles broke up, the biggest rock boy band ever to exist. George Harrison breaks up, and he finally takes all his songs they wrote through the years, and that Paul McCartney and John Lennon refused to record. He put them up and he started recording again and again and again. And the producer, Phil Spector, said, yeah, let it go. And he couldn't release it, but he decides to call the album All Things Must Pass. All things must pass, even the Beatles. And I find his words to be very inspiring. I'm going to sing to you just the first and the last verse, because I think it's a beautiful song, and I invite all of you to go and listen to it and think about a man who not only released being part of the Beatles, he let his wife go because she was in love with Eric Clapton. He just let her go. He knows that all things must pass. Sunshine doesn't last all morning. A cloudburst doesn't last all day. Seems my love is up and has left you with no warning. It's not always gonna be this great. All things must pass. All things must pass away. Now the darkness only stays at nighttime. In the morning it will fade away. Daylight's good at arriving at the right time. But it's not always gonna be this great. All things must pass. All things must pass away. All things must pass. All things must pass away. And if all of life is improvised, and improvisation is the art of creating something from nothing that will in a moment be gone and never be replicated. So that's what life is, just one long improvisation that will always pass. No need to hang on to the past. Hold on to the memories, and even if the memories change or shift or get reformed, that's fine. Connect to nature. Let go. All things must pass. My name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and this was The Potential State. I'll see you next time.